is because we put a facade of City Hall in front of it to give filmmakers more flexibility. That way, when they're filming here, not just thinking about Back to the Future the whole time. You might know this from Grandview, the town of Grandview, for Ghost Whisperer with Jennifer Love Hewitt, The Twilight Zone, the first episode, the Where Is Everybody? Filmed right over there. TED TV show, that was our high school, John Hancock High School. Never Have I Ever, that was Princeton. If you have any fans of Taylor Swift, this is where she films her music video for Wildest Dreams. And now I want to talk about Brownstone Street, which was featured in Bruce Almighty with Jim Carrey and Jennifer Aniston. Alright, if you're looking at your screens, you're looking at Brownstone Street, but now do me a favor, look to your right-hand side, now look at your screens, now look to your right-hand side, now look to your screens, that is Brownstone. You might recognize it from Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. That's where Kevin McAllister was throwing bricks at the Siki Bandits. That's also where they filmed my favorite romantic comedy ever, Gone Girl with Rosamund Pike and Ben Affleck. Thank you, Jim Carrey. Enough about me, though. If you're a fan of Marvel, this is where they filmed Captain America, the First Avenger, when Steve Rogers gets his powers and he's running down the street. That was right here. If you're a fan of Spider-Man, we have the Amazing Spider-Man here with Oscar nominee.
What up, Snake Army?
And again, this was a TED
Let's go,
TV
everyone.
Show. This is Boston for the TED TV show.
Hi everyone, Seth MacFarlane here, and I'm excited to share with you a behind-the-scenes look at my Peacock original event series, TED. It's a prequel series set in 1993. And that means our skilled craftspeople
What up,
can
Slim
build a high
Low?
school,
Thank you for
a house,
support.
and even recreate downtown.
Look at your screens. Do you see the Forlis building? Now look over there. That's where it is. I love how confused everybody is. Over there, that black, it used to be a cafe. Black cafe with gold accents and marble pillars. That cafe is where Doc Ock, played by Alfred Molina, threw a car at my Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, in Spider-Man 2. Alrighty, folks, to introduce the next part of our tour is Academy Award-winning Peter Jackson.
It's the original King Kong that made me want to direct movies. I saw that movie on TV when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I wanted to become a filmmaker. I like films that just take you away from your real life and sweep you up an adventure. Kong literally does that. I mean, you're on board the ship, you're sailing to a lost island, you're encountering monsters and creatures from, prehistoric times. So I was thrilled when Universal invited me back to Skull Island, and it's great to have you along for the ride. Now, we have created this 3D immersive experience, so you're going to have your glasses ready.
Don't put them on yet.
But just have them in your hand.
I'm shaky because I don't have a gimbal.
Alrighty, folks.
Shaky,
Remain
shaky,
seated at all
shaky.
times. No flash photography. If you have any loose belongings, please hold on to them. It's very difficult to get them back if you drop inside of these little kind of rides that we have here on the tour. Once again, folks, remain seated at all times. No flash photography. And welcome back to Skull Island. it up for King Kong 360 3D. Look how big these screens are. They're huge. This is where I play Mario Kart after work. That was King Kong 360 3D, one of the world's largest, most intense 3D experiences. We hope it felt that way. It was very expensive. If you got Dino Spin on you, just rub it on. It's good for you. It's a good moisturizer. Now, folks, that was King Kong 360 3D, one of the world's largest and most intense 3D experiences.
I'm gonna turn it off and then turn it up back on, everyone, for second round.
44 feet tall. Let me put that into perspective. Imagine watching a movie in IMAX. Now imagine 8 of those screens on one side and on the other.
But thank you guys for your support. Appreciate it.
Kong 360 3D. Now, I do want to introduce my best friend. I know him as my best friend. You might know him as Jack Black.
Hands up action. Did you know the Metro sets were once the home to Hollywood's biggest star? Right here is where the original Studio Tour King Kong attraction resided from 1986 until 2008. He stood 30 feet tall and weighed in at 13,000 pounds. Over the years, millions of guests got to meet King Kong face to face as he shook the tram. So close he could feel his hot banana breath.
Wait, Jack. Jack, come back. Come back, Jack.
Is that it? I can't believe that's my last line, and then the tram moves on to the next thing.
Right to the next thing.
We're about to cross the imaginary boundary onto the back lot, where we have exterior sets for many outdoor scenes. Over the last 60 years, Studio Tour guests have seen these locations turned into big cities, quiet suburbs, even that guy's hometown.
That guy?
Yeah, that guy. For countless movies and TV shows. This is Universal's Metro sets.
Now let's take a look at what I think, in my opinion, is the most beautiful thing on the lot. This giant monster mural by Tristan Eden.
Thou shalt rise again.
Tristan Eden is a Los Angeles-based graffiti artist. He did all of this with 8,000 cans of spray paint, all freehand, no stencils. This is where my tour starts to take a spooky turn. The closer we get to Halloween, the spookier it gets. If you love monster movies, if you love horror movies, you're gonna love this part of the tour, the second half. We're actually gonna start big. 70 years ago, a movie filmed right here called Creature from the Black Lagoon. This is the Amazon River in Creature from the Black Lagoon. This is where the Gillmen lived back in 1954. We have a long history with our classic Universal Monsters going all the way back to Jack in 1939, and even expands to our brand new theme park opening in Orlando called Universal Epic Universe, opening in Orlando in 2025. Now, folks, we are about the halfway mark of the tour. If you need any guest assistance, drop your phone into use restroom, studio's private property, pull the red cord above your head, and I'll be back to assist you as soon as it is safe for me to do so. But this lake has been featured in McKill's Navy. This is a whole Amazon, this is a whole Pacific Ocean right here. They use miniatures, which is really cool. Now, folks, we're about to take you to the birthplace of the horror movie genre. We're going to take over to Little Europe. Now, the cool thing about Little Europe, you can transform into any European country in the world. For example, like Papelma, Spain for City Slickers, for the running of the bulls, a Geico commercial for the running of the bull dogs. Welcome to the fictional country of Genovia for Princess Diaries 2, a royal engagement. Welcome to the set of my favorite Cinderella adaptation, Roger and Hammerstein's Cinderella with Brandy and Whitney Houston. Welcome to Paris for Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry David, one of my favorite TV shows. Welcome to Paris for the Muppets movie, but most of you might recognize it as The Afterlife. Congratulations, you're all dead. Welcome to the good place.
Eleanor Shellstrop are dead.
Cool.
This location, the afterlife, come on. I've never ever seen this. You're in the good place.
I'm not supposed to be here.
If you're a fan of The Good Place, take a look at your screen. See your shop on your screens is directly right behind me right now, where you can be seeing it off to your left-hand side. That yogurt shop in The Good Place is where they sold my favorite frozen yogurt flavor, Beyonce complimented my hair.
Risk going to the bad place.
Maybe it's not all that bad.
How can I help you?
What is the bad place like?
Well, it doesn't sound awesome.
You know what is awesome? Our Court of Miracles, where our classic Universal Monsters got their start. You're looking at Cairo for the Mummy, Wales for the Wolfman, Transylvania for Dracula. This is where poor Quasimodo was chained up. This is where the villagers in Frankenstein saw Frankenstein for the first time. Frankenstein's creature. Our very first classic Universal monster was this guy.
I am Dracula.
We didn't know how to promote Dracula because back in the 1930s there was no such thing as horror movies. We promoted Dracula as a romantic thriller. It came out Valentine's Day of 1931. If you were thinking about Frankenstein, Frankenstein did come out later that year. Now the dude that you just saw, his name was Bela Lugosi. He's the guy who played Dracula, this guy right here, Bela Lugosi. Now, Bela Lugosi became an overnight sensation after Dracula came out. He became super famous, so naturally they offered him the role of Frankenstein's creature, and he said, and I quote, "Nah, I'm good." He said, "Why am I going to play a role where you're going to cover my face in prosthetics? I barely have any lines." Absolutely not. You could have any random extra play Frankenstein's creature, and that's what they did. They went to the commissary and they found a very tall and slender extra. He was named Boris Karloff, who ended up playing one of the most cinematic figures of all time. Now, we're all desensitized by the amazing makeup by Jack Pierce. If you've read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein novel, which is amazing, completely rereadable, such a good story. Frankenstein's creature, they don't describe what the creature looks like. They call him demonic, they call him disfigured, but they never say what he looks like specifically. This is all Jack Pierce. What you're looking at on your screens, that's Jack Pierce. That's the amazing Jack Pierce. It's such good makeup back then. Now check this out. Again, we're all desensitized. This makeup has been around for almost 100 years. Frankenstein is in the park and all the kids go up to hug him. I hug him every time I see him in the park. But in the 1930s, they were shook. Remember, there was really no such thing as horror movies. So whenever Boris Karloff was filming and he had all the makeup on his face, all the prosthetics, he had to wear a burlap sack over his head, or else he would scare everybody working in the studio, like this lady right here. Just like that. That's how they screamed in the 1930s. And if you don't believe me, take a look at your screens. That is Boris Karloff being walked around with a burlap sack over his head.
When we think of Universal, we think of monsters.
Dracula, Frankenstein,
Wolfman,
Bride of Frankenstein,
The Mummy,
Hunchback of Notre Dame,
The Invisible Man.
Phantom of the Opera. Classic films are just brilliantly made.
That Frankenstein image, flathead, bald, it's one of the great icons of the world.
That to me was like the essence of the Universal horror film. I was just mesmerized by these movies. Boris Karloff, Lon Chaney.
I remember the original Universal Studios Mummy movie really scaring me.
I'm gonna turn it off. I'm gonna do second live, everyone. Catch you.